This is AJ Preller. He does not care about prospects. It's not an insult, it's a fact. It's something he doubled, tripled, and even quadrupled down on before this year's MLB trade deadline. He shipped off a third of his top 30 prospects for household names who can help his big league ball club win right now. And I don't blame him, unless Mr. Preller gave up too much. Today we're grading every move the Padres made on deadline day and taking a look to see if these swings were worth it or if San Diego's going to be kicking themselves for years to come. We have to start out with the Mason Miller deal. They say it's best to make a strength, right? That's just what the Padres did in this one, as we look at who they gave up in exchange for both Mason Miller and JP Sears, a couple of very valuable arms. San Diego already had one of the best bullpens in all of baseball heading into the trade deadline day. And then they went out and got the Reaper, an elite nickname for a closer, by the way. This guy has everything. The triple-digit fastball, the perceived rising movement, the swagger, the overall execution. JP Sears, on the other hand, he's an okay rotation piece. He fills up the strike zone. No walk issues to be seen, but he's only tucked that ERA under 4 once in his 4 years of service time. Mason Miller is the driver of this trade. The upside of this is that the Padres have control through 2028 with Sears and 2029 with the Reaper, or Miller. What did San Diego give up? A lot. This one's honestly tough to justify if any of these guys pan out, including the number 3 overall prospect in all of baseball. The main reason I think they really overpaid is that Leo DeVries is everything you could possibly want in a baseball prospect. Every single tool is rated at least a score of 55. The guy is well-rounded. We've done videos on him before. He's 18. He's powerful. He has sneaky speed. And arguably the most lethal skill, his versatility. This is something you really can't teach at a certain point. DeVries plays shortstop, where prospects have been seen spawning from to play almost anywhere in the field. On top of that aspect, he's a switch hitter. Missing him is going to hurt. And if you're the Athletics, around 20 games under 500 at the deadline, with an asset like Mason Miller in hand, you take a Leo DeVries and you run with him. Also included in this trade are a trio of pitchers, Braden Nett, Henry Baez, and Eduardo Nunez. Nett is a flamethrower. His K per 9 has been above 9 since he got into the pros, but with the nasty stuff comes command issues. 2025 is the first season where that walk rate is below 13%. Could Nett be the long-term plan to take over a seat that was once occupied by Mason Miller? Maybe. The ramping up of innings has been promising, though. Henry Baez, he's more likely to be a starter. He has more tread on his tires, has the command reeled in. He has been rock solid for the 2025 season and is just a couple of steps removed from cracking the major leagues. Nunez has seen limited time in the major leagues already and is still trying to dig his heels in and get comfortable. Look, overall, this is a gutsy move. And yes, this is a minor league baseball channel, so maybe you're thinking I'm leaning prospects, but giving up the number 3 overall prospect in baseball needs to warrant a huge return on the other end. Mason Miller isn't out there eating innings, and JP Sears doesn't have the high-level rotation stuff yet. And the sky is really the limit for Leo DeVries. I'm going C- on the grading scale here. Next deal, first baseman / right fielder Ryan O'Hearn and outfielder Ramon Laureano in return for this haul of prospects. Now let's add some context to the Padres situation. San Diego is good at a lot of things. Power, not one of them. In fact, they've been abysmal. San Diego has 96 home runs at the time of this video. That is the second worst mark in all of Major League Baseball. San Diego is among the bottom in Major League Baseball in OPS at the time of this video. Slugging, not much better either. O'Hearn is a rental, an unrestricted free agent after this season. The price was probably inflated for him compared to years past because outside of a couple of names like Eugenio Suarez and Taylor Ward, who didn't even go anywhere, there weren't a ton of power bats that went flying around from team to team and were even up for grabs. Laureano, he brings more pop. 16 homers at the time this video is being recorded, and at least with him, head coach Mike Shildt might get a year and a half. The outfielder has a club option in his contract after this year, so we'll see if he sticks around. The prospect haul. Preller gave the Orioles something they've needed for a while. Pitching. No top 5 prospects here, which is a plus. Bateman had the intimidation factor. He still does. He's 6'8", a lefty, has a little funk in his 3/4 arm slot delivery. He's toying with a changeup right now. Pitch variety will be big in determining whether he is a starter or more of that mid-reliever role. Hightower has had a pretty tough 2025. The batting average isn't great at single A, not a ton of pop to speak of. He does have a keen eye, which has his walk-to-strikeout ratio hovering around that 1 mark. that might be the most translatable offensive skill he has at the moment. Tyson Neighbors is super exciting. 60 grade fastball, 60 grade curveball. He's a reliever coming off the month of July without giving up a single earned run over 13 innings of work. Something to keep an eye on. Butterworth and Figueroa are a duo of bats. Figueroa went 23 for 38 in a rookie ball stint earlier this season, by the way. Scott is another arm that won't be up for a bit. I like this transaction a lot better. No top 5 prospects, 2 bats that add power, and one that comes with that club option that could keep him around before contract time. This is one of my favorite moves of deadline day, actually. I'm going A- on the grading scale here. Next up, we have the newest catcher, Freddy Fermin. The Padres were also in search of some offensive production behind the plate. Enter backstop Freddy Fermin, who was hitting .255 with an on-base percentage just over .300 when this deal got done. Fermin is another guy who the Padres can hang their hat on with control. They'll have control of Fermin's contract through the 2029 season. The Padres were 27th in the league in offensive production behind the plate before they went out and made this move, and they gave up a pair of arms to get Fermin. If you're noticing a trend here, the Padres have a lot of pitching, and they're willing to offload it. Stephen Kolek is one of those arms, and after 42 appearances exclusively out of the bullpen in his first year, he morphed into more of a starting role this season. After a strong June where he went at least 5 innings while allowing a run or less in 3 of his 6 appearances, Kolek got hit around a little bit more in July. Hitters started to pick something up on him. Ryan Bergert had the same bullpen to starter progression that we just mentioned with Kolek, except we've seen it this year. He strikes out about a hitter per inning, but the walks concern me a little bit. We talked about making a strength, but on the same side, the Padres understand they have a surplus of arm talent to the point where they can afford to offload some of it. With lackluster offensive production at catcher, getting someone who could slap the ball around, and be in a Padres uni through the end of the decade, that's a good move considering the price to me. I'll go B overall on the grading scale here. All right, nasty Nestor. The Nestor Cortes acquisition has about as much variance as you could honestly ask for. This might be the toughest one for me to grade. This guy got absolutely shelled in his Brewers debut against his old team, the Yankees, at Yankee Stadium. He was also literally traded earlier this year for Devin Williams. This guy's a rental, but he posted a 3.77 earned run average over the course of 31 outings for the Bronx Bombers last year. The Padres were also really high on Jorge Quintana, a prospect out of the Brewers system. The other end of their deal here, he's an international prospect who put pen to paper for a $1.7 million contract. He's a switch-hitting shortstop, very valuable as we brought up before. But again, the Brewers have names like Mate, Pratt, and Pena waiting in the wings at that same versatile position, so it doesn't hurt their feeder system too much. Quintana has the potential to be a burner in this lineup, something we see a lot from Brewers prospects in the big leagues and in affiliate ball. Higher success rate this year, instead of getting caught a third of the time while trying to steal, he's 19 of 23 at the time of this video. Who did San Diego give up? A certain name in Brandon Lockridge, an outfielder who logged a multi-hit performance in his Brewers debut, but is someone who hasn't seen a ton of success in the majors yet. Then again, we are talking about him going to a Brewers team who just flipped Andrew Vaughn on a dime, and now he looks like the best hitter in baseball. Between Lockridge going to the Brewers and Nestor on a rental deal coming to the Padres, the international star in Quintana will likely tip the balance beam on this deal. Therefore, I'm going with a C+ grade here. Kind of tough to judge as well. Welcome, Will Wagner. Last but certainly not least, San Diego went out and they got Will Wagner. Here are the trade details. This one's a simple 1-for-1 swap. The Padres get somebody they sent down to AAA El Paso immediately to continue his development. Catching prospect Brandon Valenzuela was who they fed out. He struggled mightily in AAA last season and is getting another crack at it this time around. The strikeout rate was around 30% with a batting average below the Mendoza line in 2024. We will see what adjustments he made. The important part to note is we already saw this team addressing the catching position in their flurry of deadline moves. I'll give this grade a C+. It's a marginal move either way at this point. Overall grade for deadline day is going to be C+. The Leo DeVries trade really concerns me. I get prospects don't always hit, okay? But that's a lot to give up just to have the reliever be possibly the anchor of the deal when the bullpen is already remarkable. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment any video suggestions you may have, and we will see you in the next one.